Thursday, everybody. May 20th, 2014. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Please check out the website, drglidden.com. Become an insider. If you're new to this radio show, if you found us on your own and you want information about the longevity health opportunity, the longevity business opportunity, you can do that by calling my toll-free number, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. You can also get information right there on the website. Click on the tab that says Join Team Glidden. If you were directed here by a pre-existing longevity representative, then get in touch with them for information about the products and or the business opportunity, because we exist as a worldwide network of individual distributors who have taken it upon themselves the welfare of humanity. Why? Because the MDs have completely let us down when it comes to chronic disease. Now, if you were in an automobile accident because your brakes failed and you had a bumped, dented fender and, needed a brand new fender, a couple of $1,000 job, is the bad fender the problem? Is the bad fender the problem? No. The bad fender is the result of the problem, right? Well, if you have a tumor, is the tumor the problem? No. The tumor is the result of the problem. If you have atherosclerotic plaque, if you have clogged arteries, are the clogged arteries the problem? No. The clogged arteries are the result of the problem. See how that works? If you have a flat tire, is the flat tire the problem? No. The leak in the tire was the problem. If there was no leak, there's no flat tire, right? No brake fluid, no brakes. That's the problem. The dented fender, the scratched up paint job, is the result of the problem, not the problem. But your MD, by virtue of their training in allopathic medicine, because remember, the MD isn't trained in medicine, they're trained in allopathic medicine. Your MD, by virtue of their training, believes that the arthritis is the problem. It's not. It's the result of the problem. They believe that the clogged artery, the high blood pressure, the tumor, the eczematous eruption on the skin is the problem. It's not. It's the result of the problem. And their therapeutics are intended not to fix the problem, but only to address the results of the problem. So, to complete the metaphor, if you were to take that automobile with the dented fender to the body shop and they fixed the fender but did not fix the brakes, what's going to happen? Well, the next time you drive it, you're going to get into another accident. Something else is going to go wrong because the root cause of the problem was not fixed. If you just put air in the tire but don't take out the nail that's sticking into the tire, causing a slow leak, it's only a matter of time until the tire goes flat again. Right? Right. I mean, it makes sense to us when we think about automobiles. But for some reason, we haven't thought this simple concept through when it comes to our own bodies. Why? Because we have put our trust in the wrong area. We have been trained and socialized to trust that our MDs know what's best for us, when in point of fact, they do not. They only know what they've been trained in. And what they've been trained in is just one small piece of the pie of medical science. It's really pretty good for surgery. It's really pretty good when surgery is indicated, necessary, mandatory. It's really pretty good for acute and trauma care, lacerations, bullet wounds, third-degree burns, broken bones. It's really pretty good for a handful of infectious diseases, but that's the long and the short of it. That's the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. If you bring your body to an MD and you're suffering with a chronic illness, you are a fool. because all that they are able to deliver you are treatments which look at the result of the disease, not the cause of the disease. And when you simply all the time just address the results of the disease, guess what happens? Well, it's only a matter of time until something gets worse. Oh, this is why when you go to an MD and you have high blood pressure, they have to fiddle around with a couple of different blood pressure meds until they find one that works, and then it only works for about 9 months. And then they have to increase the dose or add another medication or a diuretic now, or, they have to increase the therapeutic somehow because it has stopped working. Why has it stopped working? Because it never got to the cause of the problem. Never did. Never got to the cause of the problem. And this type of insanity, this type of old-fashioned, juvenile, outdated, dangerous medical therapeutics are the type of medical therapeutics that you pay hard-earned money to gain access to every month with medical insurance premiums. It is the stupidest expenditure of money a human being can make, is paying for a medical insurance premium, unless it's a catastrophic premium that gives you, is going to pay for the ambulance ride. It's going to pay for the overnight stay in the ER. It's going to pay for all of the nonsense that they're going to convince you that you need when you're in the ER, all the extracurricular stuff that you don't really need. But they're going to push it down your throat anyway because, remember, it's a for-profit business. And also they're scared to death of being sued, so they don't want to miss anything. So you go in with a splinter and they give you 3 MRIs. 2 ultrasounds and a CT scan just to make sure. And this is what it's come to, right? So we live in a real world and we have to be cautious. I mean, it's a good idea if you own a house to have insurance. It's a good idea if you own a car to have insurance, right? Because most people can't afford it if things go south. But when it comes to medicine, medical insurance premiums give you access to naturopathic medicine, not so much. Give you access to homeopathic medicine, not so much. Give you access to chiropractic, well, maybe a little, not so much though. Give you access to acupuncture, Ayurveda, or herbal medicine, or traditional Chinese medicine, no, not so much. The only medicine your medical insurance premium gives you access to is MD-directed allopathic reductionistic medicine. Puts you in the company of physicians who don't care what caused the disease and who are only trained to treat the results of the disease in a suppressive fashion. Honest to God, they're like the Sawbones, Dr. Sawbones in the Civil War, right? Everybody that came in the tent, just a little scrape, you got to cut the arm off, cut the leg off, cut the hand off. And, that was accepted as just, well, that's just what you got to do. The doctor knows best. Well, no, the doctor does not know best. And this is the problem that we are up against here. It's a big problem, especially when it comes to cancer. But for goodness sake, cancer is a very dramatic thing, and it's a hot button item. And so whenever anybody talks about cancer, the phones light up, and that's a good thing, I guess. But it's the same predicament. It's the same situation. It's the same a problem when it comes to everything else: heartburn, high blood pressure, arthritis, fibromyalgia, eczema, psoriasis, warts, inability to fall asleep at night, anxiety and panic attacks, depression, you name it. Your MD is clueless about what causes these things. All of the research that's done is not done to come to terms with what causes it. All of the research is done to develop a new method to manage it. Well, we need a new drug to manage the blood pressure. We need a new drug to manage the insomnia. We need a new drug to manage the blood sugar. New drug, new drug, new drug, new drug, new drug, new drug. All of the research done at universities in the United States, it's all pharmaceutical centrists. The pharmaceutical companies pay for everything. And the pharmaceutical companies are the heralds of the reductionistic method. They do not care to even consider the cause of the problem. They only care to treat the results of the problem, and they've been doing it for so long that they think that, that's just what you do. They don't question their own therapeutics, and the hubris of the research community, the hubris of the MD, the hubris of the hospital official is beyond the ken of ordinary thought. These people smell unduly of the lamp. They have little to no experience or understanding about the real nature of disease. And yet they lord their therapeutics over you like a medieval king. It's the king's way or the highway. And it's an interesting phenomenon, don't you think? I mean, if your family was very, very poor, and you had a family, 3 or 4 kids, and you didn't have enough food, that's a health risk, right? So if your family didn't have enough food and you were out on your job and the kids are at school one day, and your neighbor called some government agency, and the government agency came over and stocked your pantry filled with food for 6 months, and then they sent you a bill for it. They stocked your pantry, but then they sent you a bill for it. And they doubled or tripled the normal price because, this is the free market. You would not pay for that. That's nuts. I mean, that can't happen, right? But if you have an accident, you're unconscious, and a stranger finds you and dials 911, what happens? The ambulance comes and picks you up and takes you to the hospital. The hospital does all of this stuff to you, and who do they send the bill to? They send the bill to the person that called 911? No, they send the bill to you. We accept this type of behavior when it comes to medical treatment, but we wouldn't accept this type of behavior when it comes to everything else. And this is how deeply down the rabbit hole we've gone in our utter respect and genuflection at the altar of the MD. For goodness sakes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get a clue, right? Guess what? I'm the red pill. It's time to pop right out of the matrix. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. This is Fire Your MD Now. Nathaniel from California is up next, so fasten your seatbelts and stick around. So if your family is struggling, there's food on the table, but really there should be more. I mean, it's not as serious a situation so that child services has to come in. But, it's a health thing, right? I mean, it's a health thing. You don't eat enough calories. Sooner or later, something bad's going to happen. So if your neighbor calls a private company, when you're away from the home, and the private company comes to your house and unloads $5,000 worth of food and then bills you $15,000 for that, that's unacceptable. But if you're found unconscious on the side of the road, and your neighbor dials 911 and they take you to the hospital and do all of this stuff, a private company comes and picks you up and takes you to the hospital, who do they send the bill to? They send the bill to the person who dialed 911? No, they send it to you. And in the United States, emergency medical technicians are required by law to administer emergency medical assistance until the person is stabilized. Otherwise, they may be liable, and their insurance company will not cover them if they fail to do this. And as we know, the medical stuff in the U.S. is run by the insurance companies, so we're between a rock and a hard place. I mean, even if you had a medical bracelet on that said, do not resuscitate, keep your hands off me, leave me alone, the medical emergency people would disregard this, and they'd take you to the hospital anyway. It's a problem, right? Now, look. I have a good friend of mine. The commander is an EMT. Well, he's an RN. He works in the back of the ambulance, keeping people alive, and I'm not knocking their profession. They do a lot of good in the world, but it's an interesting thing to talk about. It's an interesting conversation to have, a social conversation, because the bottom line here is that a reasonable person would want to go to the hospital. And that's an incorrect statement. A reasonable person would not want to go to the hospital because hospitals are the leading cause of death in the United States, and they're going to jam up the bill on you. They're the leading cause of bankruptcy. Look, if you've got blood spurting from an artery, if you have a bullet in your abdomen, that's one thing. But, to be taken to the hospital because you have your tooth hurts, or because there's a splinter. You're playing at the beach and you get a splinter in your foot, and the cops come by on the bicycles and they call the EMT, and the EMT's strong arm you to go to the hospital. I mean, what's up with that? There's a lot of things that are wrong with that. A lot of things need to change here, but they're not going to change. So the best thing that we can do here is take a stand for your own health and be as preventive as you possibly can. Because look, folks, you don't have a stroke because you have a bad gene. You don't have a stroke because you have blood. You don't get high blood pressure because you have a heart. You don't get arthritis because you have joints. These things go south because your body has run out of the stuff it needs to maintain its structural integrity, and because you are unwittingly consuming food that's hurting you every single solitary day, sometimes 4 or 5 times a day. So, our message, number 1, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Clean up your diet. Just stop eating 10 foods, period. Now, if you want to take that to the next level, you can investigate the blood type diet and eliminate the foods that are supposed to be bad for your blood type as well. See how that goes for you. But most importantly, you need to fill your body's nutritional tank with the 90 essential nutrients that your body needs in order to support and promote its structure and function. The stuff you need just to walk down the street. 90 essential nutrients. Thank God for longevity. Thank God for Dr. Wallach. Because Dr. Wallach's made it easy for you. He has put the 90 essential nutrients into a number of different healthy start packs. The intention of each are, it doesn't sound like good English. The intention of the healthy packs is to support and promote the structure and function of your body with a little extra lung support, a little extra heart support, a little extra immune support, or whatever. So you don't even need to know how to spell vitamin. You just need to know which healthy start pack to start with. And if you don't know which healthy start pack to start with, just get the healthy start pack and eliminate the 10 bad foods. But your longevity distributor can help you understand which one is the best one to start with. I can certainly do that. Dr. Wallach can certainly do this. If you can pass the driver's license test, you can figure out you're smart enough to know which healthy pack to take. You're smart enough to know that. This is not rocket science. We've been convinced by the MDs that healing is a sophisticated, complicated process. It's not. Surgery is. Healing is easy, especially with longevity. Nathaniel from California really is up next. Stick around. Sing along. I know you want to. I know Nathaniel wants to, way out there in California. Yeah, let's go see what he's up to. Hey, Nathaniel, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hey, how's it going, Dr. Glidden?
Pretty good. What's happening?
Yeah, I've been giving my brother the Healthy Brain Start Pack and the Smart FX tab for about 2 weeks, on and off, not consistently. And he's also taking a lot of medicine, and I want to know, should I start weaning him off of the medicine?
No, it's not your job to do that. It's the doctor's job to do that. And you start messing around with that stuff, somebody's gonna get up in your face and, bring criminal charges against you because you can't do that. Well, your brother could do it. He can do whatever he wants if he's over 21. But so here's the deal. There are some pharmaceuticals that it's okay to just stop cold turkey. There are some pharmaceuticals that if you stop them cold turkey, they're going to hurt you. There are some pharmaceuticals you need to wean off of over the course of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You need to be smart and prudent about how you come off of drugs, prescription medications. And this is the domain of the MD. This is the domain of the pharmacist. These people know all about drugs. That's all that they know. They know, how you can come off of them and what you need to do. And so I would voice my concerns with your brother's healthcare providers and say, look, my brother and I both want him to be off of as many prescription meds as is possible. What type of blood work do we need to do in order to facilitate that? The clock is ticking. Let's go, 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 go. I would have that conversation with your healthcare provider. And then, look to see what they say. And if they're not willing to recommend a reduction schedule for any of his meds, then find a healthcare provider who will. It's a sticky wicket. It's a tricky situation that you're in. You may want to go to naturopathic, Naturo, P like Peter, ATHIC.org, naturopathic.org, and do a California state search for naturopathic doctors that live near you and that work near you. Because naturopathic doctors in California have prescription rights, and so naturopathic doctors in California can tell people legally to stop taking meds. So there may be a naturopathic physician living in your town, and if you hook your brother up with him or her, they may become an advocate for you for coming off of the meds, in a safe and effective way. That's naturopathic.org. Check it out. It's a pretty decent website.
Okay.
All right. Are we good? All right, Nathaniel, I appreciate you. Thanks very much. Keep up the good work. From California to California, Dora, the Explorer, is finally back. Hey, Dora, thanks for the phone call.
Nice to talk to you again.
What's happening?
Well, lately, it's about a week now, I've had this left side ache inside your pelvic bone. It comes and goes. And I was wondering what's going on.
Well, God only knows. Have you ever had this before? It sounds like it might be a sciatic type of thing. Has anybody dialed this in for you?
A long time ago I had it, but it went away. But it actually came back about a week ago.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't really hurt, but sometimes if I take a couple or three deep breaths, it goes away. I don't know what's going on.
I would visit a chiropractor, Dora. I would go and a chiropractor, yeah.
It has nothing to do with your colon or nothing.
No. Chiropractors, they're the people that manipulate the bones in your back. They'll put you down on a table. And I bet you that you have a structural problem with your pelvis.
It's not really the bone part. It's inside the pelvic.
Yeah, I know. I get that. And when the nerves that come out of your back go into your pelvis, where they come out of in your back, if the bones in your back where the nerve comes out of are not just right, it can put a little bit of pressure on that nerve, and that can cause pelvic pain. I mean, there's a lot of things that
like your pain in back of your thighs.
Yeah. Now that's a sciatic thing. So I would ask your friends who a good chiropractor in your town is.
Okay. There's nothing in wallet products I could take.
Well, I need to know what it is first. There could be a million things that are causing this. But one thing you can start with, Dora, is you can take twice as much liquid calcium as you're taking now for 2 or 3 days.
I take it 3 times a day.
All right, so take it 5 times a day. Take it 5 times a day for 2 days.
5 times.
Yep, for 2 days, and see if the pain in the pelvis goes away.
But what will the chiropractor do? All
right, so him or her, the chiropractor will put you on a table like a massage table, and they'll poke around on your back and look to see if they find any areas that are tender or soft, or if they can tell that the bones are out of place. And then they're going to put a little bit of pressure on the bone. Have you ever remember when we were kids, we used to pop our fingers? Remember that? Well, they're going to do a little bit of an adjustment to your back. Feels just like when we used to pop our fingers. It's perfectly painless procedure. And I got to tell you something. In my opinion, a good chiropractor is worth their weight in gold. Because when your body is out of structural alignment, there's only so much that nutrition can do, right? It's kind of like if the axle in your car is bent. It doesn't matter how good the gas or how good the oil or how good the spark plugs are. The car is going to turn funny because the axle is bent. You need to have that fixed mechanically. So sometimes the body needs a massage. Sometimes it needs a little bit of an adjustment to your bone. And I got to tell you something, Dory. If you've never been to a chiropractor,
I've never been. It'll be my first experience.
Yeah. So my advice to you, Dora, find a female chiropractor.
Okay.
and someone whom comes with a good recommendation from somebody in your community. So I would ask around, who's a good chiropractor, and find one who's female, go to see him, and then call me back. I'd be very interested to hear what your experience is.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Dora. Call me anytime. Henry from Tennessee is up next with a question about COPD. Hey, Henry, thanks for the call. You are live.
Yes, sir. I've had COPD since 2001. I also have atrial fibrillation, and they sewed the shutter up between my upper and lower chamber of my heart, and I live off of a pacemaker.
Mm-hmm. Henry, are you shorter than you used to be?
No, sir. I don't know that. I don't know.
Well, do you remember how tall you were when you were a kid, or do you have like an old military, ID badge or an old driver's license poking around anywhere in your house?
Yes, sir.
Well, all right. So you want to find what your measurements were then, and then you want to, have somebody measure your height now and see if you've shrunken. I'm going to bet you that you've shrunken, because the most common cause of atrial fibrillation is something called degenerative disc disease in the back. And in your back, you've got your vertebrae. Those are the backbones that the chiropractors adjust, and you've got them about 33, 35 of them in your back. And in between the backbones, you have a little disc. It's like a feather pillow. It's called the intervertebral disc. And when a feather pillow loses its feathers, it's no fun to sleep on anymore because it's lost all of its support. When the intervertebral discs lose their structural integrity, you shrink in height, and the nerves that come out of your spine, that come out of your back, that go to your heart, they're no longer cushioned, and they get pressed upon by the bones in your back, and that's the leading cause of atrial fibrillation. It's not the heart. It's the nerves coming out of the back that are often the problem. Now, getting a pacemaker is not going to fix this problem. If it is a degenerative disc issue, that needs to be addressed, because it's only a matter of time until that shows up somewhere else with another problem. So I would look to see if you've shrunken at all.
I have a lower lumbar disc disease.
Well, there you go. All right. So if you have a lower lumbar disc disease, I'm betting you that you have an upper thoracic disc that's out of whack as well, but they've missed it. They didn't see it on the diagnostic array. Oh, well, all right. So I can tell you what to do to support and promote the health of your intervertebral discs. That's easy. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, right? That's like asthma on steroids. And, if you have what would be a good metaphor here? Sometimes in automobiles there are rubber gaskets, or in faucets there are rubber gaskets, that exist in the joint of a faucet. And if the rubber gets all dried out in the joint of the gasket, you're going to develop a leak, because the rubber has lost its flexibility, it's lost its resiliency. And when that happens, it doesn't do its job anymore, and so water comes out where it shouldn't come out, and you get a leak. Well, when your lungs get dried out, so to speak, when your lungs lose their ability to be flexible, you develop asthma, and then you develop chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's the same illness, just more and more and more and more of it. From our point of view, the asthmatic condition and or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease are the results of essential fatty acid deficiencies. Your lungs need a particular nutrient called essential fatty acids in order to function properly. Your lungs need essential fatty acids. Your car needs brake fluid in order for the brakes to work. Your car needs engine oil in order for the engine to work. Well, your lungs need essential fatty acids. And so the recommendation to you, how much do you weigh, Henry?
I weigh 250 pounds, but I'm on wallet stuff now.
All right, well, tell me what you've been taking, and tell me for how long you've been doing it.
I'm on the Tangerine, the Osteo FX Plus, the EFAs Plus, Selenium, de-stress, glucose gel, Z-radical, Sweeties, and prostrate FX.
Okay, good. Now, have you noticed any improvement anywhere in your body since you've been taking that stuff?
Yes, sir. I'm out to bed and up and going. But I'm having some problems with. I take warfarin. They've got me. I want off of it. I never wanted on it.
I get it.
It was rat poison. I didn't want to take it.
Yeah.
But I ain't convinced myself yet that I won't have a stroke. They've still got the upper hand on me on that. That's all I go to the doctor for is for them to check that.
And every time they check it, they do an INR test, right, or a prothrombin time test. Are your results good?
No, they can't get it down there now this life and tell them you ain't ever going to get it down there because I'm not going to tell them what I've done so I know where they're going with it.
Yeah, okay, so as far as they're concerned, the INR test is still bad. It's still outside of the normal range, right?
Yes, sir, I'm at 2. They wanted it to in 2.5.
Okay, and every time you go, do they tell you to increase the warfarin?
They have here lately. They've got me on a half extra pill 3 times a week.
Oh, all right. Okay, Henry, great, man. I can tell you exactly what you need to do here. I'm glad that you called. We're up against a little break here, Henry. Stick with me. I'll pick you up on the other side of the commercials, and I'll dial this in for you. So happy that you called. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Talking to Henry in Tennessee about numerous issues. Welcome back, Henry. You're still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So here's the deal. How much do you weigh, Henry?
252.
Okay. Have you lost any weight on this program?
Yes, sir. I come from 290 down to 252.
Okay, great. Have you eliminated the 10 bad foods?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, Henry. You're the smartest man in Tennessee. God bless you. So here's what I would do if I were you, and I would do this for 8 weeks in a row, okay? I would take 15 EFA plus a day. It's 5 with breakfast, 5 with lunch, 5 with dinner. How many are you taking now?
12.
Okay, take 15. 5, 5, and 5. Make sure that you're salting your food so that it tastes good. And another thing that you can do just to kind of push the envelope here, right, give the body a little head start, is get some digestive enzymes, a bottle of the Ultimate Enzymes, and take 1 digestive enzyme capsule at the beginning of a meal. Take 1 Ultimate Enzyme digestive capsule at the beginning of each meal, and take 5 EFA plus with that meal. All right. Now,
isn't that in the new tangerine?
Yeah, I don't care when you take that. Are you familiar with the concept of?
Ain't I getting these fluoride and the other in the tangerine now? Didn't they put it in this new?
I'm a little confused about the question, Henry. I'm sorry.
The enzymes and the fluoride.
Oh, yeah. No. This is a different product. It's not in the new tangy tangerine. It's called the Ultimate Enzyme, and it has ox bile in it that helps to digest fat. It has ox bile in it that helps to digest fat, and the EFAs is fat. So it might just be a problem with digestion of the fat, which is why the 12 EFAs aren't cutting the mustard for you. And remember, this is only an experiment. I only want you to do this for 8 weeks. Those called Ultimate Enzymes. Take 1 before a meal and take 5 of the EFA plus with each meal. Now, again, we need to lean on science and reality here. Dr. Wallach sued the Food and Drug Administration years ago to secure something for longevity called a qualified health claim. Now, a qualified health claim means that you bring to the Food and Drug Administration truckloads of research which supports your particular position. And the position that Dr. Wallach secured with his lawsuit against the FDA is that essential fatty acid supplementation virtually eliminates the risk of stroke. So you don't need to worry that you're going to get a stroke, because people don't get strokes because they have brains or because they have a circulatory system. You get a stroke if the viscosity of your blood is funky, if it's not correct. And when the viscosity of your blood becomes funky, it's not because you have a bad gene or a voodoo curse. It's because you don't have enough essential fatty acids in the body, period. So, but facts are a stubborn thing and numbers don't lie. So every 2 weeks, I want you to go and have that test done. And if your MD isn't going to order this test every 2 weeks, you can order it yourself online. Direct Labs, that's with an S, DIRECTLABS.com. You can order your own blood test. I want you to do this every 2 weeks. And well, hopefully what's going to happen here, the goal is for that number to improve. And as the number improves, you can wean yourself off of the warfarin. Or if that's too scary a thing, just go back to your MD and he'll look at the numbers and say, son of a gun, it's okay to cut your dose down. But that's how I want you to do it. 15 EFA plus a day, the ultimate enzyme before a meal, and order that INR test yourself. Or, if you can convince your medical doctor to do it, have him do it. And that's how we're going to do it. And call me back, Henry, every 2 weeks with the result, because I want to track this live on the air. I'm excited for your future. I appreciate the trust. Thank you for the call, and let me know how it shakes down. We're going to Miami. Talk to Maria when we come back in the second hour, folks. I'm Dr. Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now.